Welcome to This Week in Auburn Sports. I'm Plainsman sports editor Eric Wallace, joined by the newest member of this production, Kyle Van Fechtmann, the assistant sports editor. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long summer full of baseball and soccer with the World Cup helping us get through it. But now, finally, college football's back.
We made it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge difference on campus from last year where expectations weren't really high at all. Everyone was just trying to go into the new day. And now expectations are high, and everyone is very excited around campus. All the tents are up, and everyone's ready to go for tomorrow against Arkansas.
You can really tell everybody believes. There's just much more positivity because last year before Washington State, it was a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, people didn't know what to expect. But this year, they got a high ceiling.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of uncertainty, with Jeremy Johnson starting, nobody really knows when we're going to see Nick Marshall, who's Auburn's leading Heisman candidate at quarterback. Not really sure when we're going to see him. Gus Malzahn says there's a plan. I like to call it the Marshall plan. But, so it'll be interesting to see how Jeremy Johnson fares against SEC competition in his first start.
All of the players and coaches say they're confident in Jeremy Johnson. Even C.J. Uzama, he said that Jeremy could start for any other SEC team, which is huge. And whether or not he plays for one drive or the whole game, the team's confident that he can get the win.
I think that he works pretty well, too, with the expanded passing game that they've been trying to implement this offseason. Obviously, with the weather, we'll see kind of how that works out. But he's definitely more of a pocket passer, but he does have a little mobility. Sticking with the uncertainty, Robinson Threezy, the team's leader in interceptions last year, is out. Gus Malzahn has called it eligibility issues, but
still no update on that.
Yeah, we're not really sure when we're going to see him. Justin Garrett is starting in his place, who had some foot issues last year. He missed most of the year, but he's actually a really talented player that the coaches love. He's just a big physical guy. So, and then also, obviously, it's going to be interesting to see who replaces Trey Mason.
Oh, but they're also confident in their running game, even with the big loss of Trey.
Mm-hmm.
They got Corey Grant coming in, or back again, and Cameron Artis-Payne. They're both starting at the number one position. And then Peyton Barber and Rock Thomas may get some carries too. So you never know what to expect. Especially with the rain, all four of them might get a lot of carries.
Yeah, I think they'll see a lot of carries. I think it'll be a lot. They'll stick with the committee approach that they had at the beginning of the year, just kind of see if they get a hot hand, if Corey's taking off, or if Cap is bruising through. Maybe they'll start to receive more of the carries. But with Cap and Corey, they complement each other so well.
Oh, definitely.
The way that they're able to, Cap is honestly, he's a bruiser, but he's also got a little quickness, and then Corey's obvious blazing speed. So it'll be
even Corey got bigger over the offseason, so they're saying he's not going to be run towards the sideline. He's going to be run through people like Cap, so that's scary for other teams' defenses.
Yeah, definitely, and he's made it a point to try and be more physical this offseason. Speaking of being physical, the Razorbacks may have had a tough year last year, but they bring a couple physical, talented backs to the Plains.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how the Auburn defensive line, which has received a lot of hype this offseason, with Gabe Wright, Montrevious, old man Jeff Whitaker now getting a starting job on the line. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the Razorbacks' rushing attack.
Yeah, they have 2 1,000-yard rushers returning with Alex Collins and Jonathan Williams, and if it does rain, they could end up running it a lot, and that could be a big factor for Auburn's defense.
Yeah, and Brett Bielema's going to want to have that physical downhill running game. That's his bread and butter, obviously, as opposed to Gus Malzahn's hurry up, no huddle.
Yeah, he's a big fan of that.
Yeah, that's his favorite style of offense. Yeah, but I think honestly one of the biggest factors for this game on Saturday is the weather because it's been a while since there's been a home game that was raining. The Texas A&M game in 2012 that we're all trying to forget.
West Virginia game in 2009.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how Auburn's offense handles it because, there could be a lot of slipping. I think it may limit the passing game a little bit, so the ball will be, rushing the ball a lot more often, which both coaches will probably be okay with.
If it does rain a lot, we may not be able to see Nick Marshall's passing game that everyone has been saying and raving about, that it's improved tremendously if he does play. So that could be another thing. We may not be able to see Duke Williams come in and Sammy Coates make big plays that people are hoping to see, but Auburn still has a solid running attack to counter that.
And they'll still probably try to get the ball. They're still going to get the ball to Sammy and Duke. They're too important to the offense to just completely remove them from it.
Yeah.
But so you got a prediction? What do you think's going to happen?
I think Auburn's going to get the win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like everyone's saying it is, but I say Auburn 24, Arkansas 14.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar to that. I believe I said in the paper that it would be a 34-20 Auburn victory, but you know they have a lot on the line. You know, it's a growing rivalry, so I don't think the Razorbacks are going to roll over by any means.
Yeah,
and I think the weather is going to play a bigger part than most people think. So.
Definitely.
Also, if you're around campus, you should pick up our game day tab. Ron Burgundy, even though he's wearing Arkansas red right now, he's a pretty big fan of it. So check it out. There's some good stuff in there, including some features on Jeremy Johnson.
Braden Smith.
Yeah, Braden Smith, true. And the top 5 season openers. So, yeah, make sure you pick that up if you're around campus. Until next time, this has been This Week in Auburn Sports.